Everybody, welcome back to Wicked Good Sports. This is a new segment that we're calling The Way West Stand, and it's going to be hosted by Rhett Conway. Rhett, how are you doing?
Doing great, Brian. How are you?
Doing really good. So, The Way West Stand, what does that mean? What are we covering? Obviously, if people clicked on this, they probably know from the thumbnail and stuff, but give us the pitch for this show.
Oh, probably. This is going to be a Premier League and, most importantly, a Arsenal-centric show.
Yes.
Arsenal is a team I follow. I've followed them for well over a decade now. Way West Stand, in the Emirates, you have the clock end, the North Bank, the East Stand, and the West Stand. Well, we're on the wrong side of the Atlantic, so we're the Way West Stand.
So you've been pitching to me for a little while, like soccer. It's the next big thing. We got to get in on this. So can you kind of explain the Premier League for people like me who are more, American centric, might not fully understand everything happening over the pond?
Of course, of course. So the Premier League is the main league in England. All of the major European countries have their own league. The Premier League is a 20-team league that operates from August to May. You play 38 games. You get 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, no points for a loss. And the most beautiful thing about it is after those 38 games, whichever team has the most points win.
All right. So Arsenal being the team we're following, we're a few games into the season. How are they doing right now?
Top of the league. Could not be doing any better. And from last year, I mean, night and day.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, for those of you who don't follow, and for a lot of fans who I think do, it was bad. It was 3 games in. We had no points. We had not even scored a goal yet. Awful. This year, as we're recording, we're 7 matches in. We have 18 points. We're top of the league. We're ahead of Manchester City. We're ahead of Tottenham. That's very important. We're ahead of everybody. It's been fantastic so far.
So the points breakdown, that might be for it. I'm kind of trying to, obviously the people who are fans who might find this, they know how it works, but we're trying to expose our more American-centric viewers to the sport. So in the win-loss right now, there's 6 wins, 1 loss, 0 draws. How do these points get delineated for their wins, losses, and draws?
So yeah, with a win, you get 3 points. So whenever in very much the way that English people talk or anyone who follows soccer, you almost never call it a win. You just call it 3 points because that's at the end of the day, that's what it is. In hockey, it's the same thing except for it's 2 points. And even if you go back and you watch old Slapshot, that movie, when they had their first win of the season, the French guy was 2 points, 2 points. And
right.
Soccer, 3 points, 3 points. And then 1 point for a draw. You almost never call them ties. Always draws.
Right.
And then obviously, if you lose, you don't get anything. We may not think they're as courageous or as capitalist as us, but you don't get anything if you lose over there either.
Yeah, that's good. The Americans, I think, could get behind that at least.
Yep. So the important thing is take the amount of matches, and then so this is very much how they break it down. You take the amount of matches that you played, you multiply that by 3, and then whatever the difference is how many points you dropped. That is very much the vernacular. So 7 times 3 is 21. We're at 18. We've dropped 3 points of a total 21, which, you said we won 6. We drawn none so far. We've had no draws, and we lost 1. That was against Manchester United. So that was 3 points that we dropped. If you take 38 times 3, that comes out to 114. That's the maximum amount of points you've had. No one's done that. But just to keep your mind straight. So, hopefully after Saturday we'll be at 21 points.
Yeah, so this Saturday, it's a big event, right, for Arsenal fans. What's happening?
Saturday's the biggest. Saturday is the North London Derby. I say that like it's only 1 match. It's technically 2 matches because we will also have a North London Derby when we go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Of course.
But it is the North London Derby at the Emirates on Saturday, 7:30 a.m. Eastern. If you think I won't be at my local beer garden with a beer in hand watching that match, you are out of your mind.
Love it.
But that is when we play our rivals, Tottenham Hotspur.
All right, and Tottenham pretty good right now. They have 17 points, so this is huge.
Only 1 point behind. They're looking very, very good. As it stands so far, the quality of teams that we've played, if you look at where they're at the table, is actually slightly better than Manchester City and Tottenham. However, 1 point over 7 matches. That's not much at all.
Right.
So it's going to be a very tight game. It's always a tight game. I mean, Tottenham Hotspur and Arsenal, it doesn't matter where one person is or one team or the other is in the table. We're always at each other's throats. But it's going to be very interesting because Arsenal have a very attack-minded, very possession-based, very prolific mindset about them this year, which is something that we haven't had the ability to do in the past. And Tottenham are being coached by Antonio Conte, and they have a very, like all of his teams, they are more defensive, more catch you out the counter type of guy. Son and Kane are probably the best attacking duo, maybe in Premier League history, definitely in Tottenham Hotspur history. There's a very good chance that Harry Kane actually breaks Alan Shearer's record for goals in the Premier League if he stays with Tottenham in the next couple of years. So, going to give them the respect that they're owed. However, with the way these two teams look right now, I know I'm biased, but I really think Arsenal's going to get this one. I think we're going to come out early. I think we're going to attack through the middle. I think we're going to be very, very good.
Not for nothing, the Google win probability also believes Arsenal's going to win. 46%, 26 draw, and 28 for Tottenham. So it should be exciting. How's the roster looking this year? What are you thinking so far, 7 games in?
Oh, massive improvements. Absolutely massive. So we got Gabriel Jesus. If you follow anything about soccer, you know what that means. If you don't, he was a very underutilized guy, played out of position at Manchester City. That's not exactly Pep Guardiola's fault. He's the manager at Man City. Might as well be Pep City, if I'm being honest. Not exactly his fault. Just, spoiled for choice over there. But ever since we took him and moved him from the right wing into more of a central striker zone, he has just been fantastic. And then on the defensive end, William Saliba, we got him several years ago, kept putting him out on loan. People thought he was on the outs. I think Mikel Arteta was just waiting for him to be ready because he has been fantastic in the defensive spot. He started for France during the Nations League, during the international break this week. He's already scored 2 goals. He gives us a structure in the back, where you're not worried about it. The attacking team's coming on it, and you're just like, don't worry, we got it. We got Saliba in the back. And on top of that, he's got his great, great song. One of the things that American followers of soccer need to get used to or are going to enjoy is every player has a song. The fans sing constantly. Saliba's is a take on the famous Tequila song. And you do the entire wind-up, but when you get to the part where you yell tequila, you just yell Saliba instead. It's a ton of fun. He's been fantastic. Ben White has moved over into the right back zone while Tomiyasu has been injured. He has been amazing. He's normally a center back. He's been amazing over there. People are calling for him to start in the center back spot over Harry Maguire. I obviously 100% agree. Our ability to have the better defense has allowed Granit Xhaka to become more of a box-to-box midfielder. He's been amazing this year. I mean, fans who watch Arsenal can remember that 2019 game against Crystal Palace when he got subbed off. The fans let him have it. He let the fans have it. We all thought he's going to be stripped of the captain's armband. It's all over. We're never going to see him again. Here we are, 2022. He might actually be the best player so far this year. It's just we got the depth. It's looking like we're going to get Zinchenko and Thomas Partey back for the North London Derby. Our roster is looking great. It's looking the best it's looked in a lot of years.
That's awesome. So what else about the team do you want to bring up on this first episode?
So the question that's been weighing on everyone's mind, and I got to say with every week, it's starting to become a little bit more likely, but, are Arsenal title contenders? We've been title contenders so much in our past. Are we title contenders this year? I'm still not willing to say yes.
Okay.
But, man, I'm getting closer.
If they win on Saturday, how much more would that make you confident?
Will we win on Saturday? If we win big, if we just take what we did last year and do it again, which is a beautiful 3-1 win, I'm going to be on top of the world. I'm going to think we're world beaters. I'm going to think no one can possibly catch us. And at this point, that's kind of where I'm close to. I'm to the point where someone needs to show us that they're going to beat us and beat us hard. I mean, yes, we lost to Man United 3-1, but for large parts of that game, we looked very, very good. We had one goal disallowed that would have changed the complete complexion of that game. We got caught out on the counter a couple of times. We didn't have Thomas Partey. Man United had just bought whoever they wanted to buy. They just bought Antony for 80 million. They just bought Casemiro for 65 million. It's good to have deep body. But right now with being ahead of City, of course, I don't know. It's City, man. I mean, with De Bruyne and Haaland's going to score 60 freaking goals this season, and I'm not even kidding. He's on pace to score 60 goals. I don't know if anyone catches up with him, but right now they pick up a couple injuries, especially in the World Cup, and away we go. And that's the other really big thing with the World Cup coming up. That's a huge drain on guys. And if you're a team like City, although Arsenal's starting to get there now, I'm saying Ben White needs to be in the England squad. I think Saka earned himself a starting spot in that Germany match. He came off the bench. He's the one who turned it around. Him and Mason Mount. I'm not a huge fan of Mason Mount, but him and Mason Mount turned it around. They're the ones who got that draw. Whoever has their players make the deepest run in the World Cup is really going to hurt for the second half of the season. And that's putting a lot of stuff up in the air we don't necessarily know. And God forbid someone gets injured. I mean, if Harry Kane gets injured in the World Cup, not that I wish that on him.
Right.
But if he does get injured in the World Cup, I don't know what Tottenham does. Heung-min Son is an amazing player, but he can't do it all on his own. It's the same thing with Arsenal. If Jesus goes down for Brazil and if we lose Saka, or if Saliba gets injured for France, it's a big deal. But right now, at this point, someone's got to prove that they're going to beat us. So I'm cautiously optimistic, which a couple weeks ago it was, no, guys, come on, there's no way. Now I'm cautiously optimistic. We went on Saturday, and I'm going to be like, F yeah, we're going to go all the way.
Yeah. Can you even briefly just kind of touch on how weird the World Cup being right now is for like?
Oh, this is so weird. This is so awful. It's so many things. I mean,
I'm excited. Don't get me wrong, but
I'm excited too. Although I'm not. I feel bad that I am excited because it's in Qatar or Qatar or however I'm supposed to pronounce it, ass backwards country. But it's when you have like a Monday off and people are talking about like 2 days from now and you think it's Wednesday, but it's actually Thursday and you get all screwed up. It's that exact same thing because guys are talking about, it's the last international game in the run up to the World Cup, and I'm like, it's March? What is going on? Because that's when that would normally be.
Right.
This is going to screw up everything. And a huge thing that happened a couple weeks ago was obviously the Queen died. They decided to play no matches.
Right. So it put it back even further.
And then only the matches that they could get the police coverage for the next weekend. And we already had a super condensed season. You had the Premier League, you have the FA Cup, you have the EFL Cup, Arsenal's in Europa, you got a bunch of teams in the Champions League. Those are all midweek games that are trying to get played around a 38-game season. And then you have the World Cup that's going to take up a month in the middle of it. It's a complete mess. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not that excited. The United States of America look like shit right now. I don't think it's going to be for us. Although England before the Germany match didn't look good either. I mean, it might be Wales and Saudi Arabia coming out or Iran coming out of our groups. I don't know. I'm excited for the World Cup because the World Cup's like nothing else.
Right, exactly.
At the end of November, it just doesn't even feel right.
I think the World Cup is like the first step to maybe soccer becoming an American thing, especially if we maybe get good at some point. Who knows? Obviously, the women kick ass, but the men do not.
If you want to do a whole podcast on what's wrong with American soccer, especially from a men's standpoint, believe me, I have that locked and loaded.
In the future, definitely.
A lot of BS that goes on. But to your point, we have a bid. I mean, we won the bid with Canada and Mexico in 2026.
Yeah, so it will be exciting.
Years, and I think you're right. I think for the fans that need to the fans that aren't fans yet, that will definitely be the catalyst. That'll be the
Mhm.
thing that gets us into a rolling balloon.
Yeah.
Right now, I think we're very much in a simmer. I mean, NBC has paid billions of dollars for the right to show 7:30 Eastern games in the United States.
Yeah.
And that's 4:30 in California.
But that's a good point. At least you can, for anyone watching this, you might want to get into it. NBC, that's where you can watch this game.
Oh yeah, you can.
7:30.
NBC has every Premier League match.
Perfect.
They've changed it this year, so you need to have Peacock to get every match.
Okay.
But if you don't get it on NBC, look on USA.
Mhm.
This match, I think, is on NBC. I think it's on main NBC. If it's not on
Alright.
main NBC, it'll be on NBC Sports. This is a big match.
Mhm.
I'm going to be, like I said, I'm in Albany. I'm at Wolf's Beer Garden. We were voted the second best soccer bar in America a couple years ago.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
So here's the long-term goal. We get this show big enough to host a podcast live, and then we make it the number one. Soccer bar.
That would be amazing.
All right, long-term
Hey,
goal.
At 7:30 in the morning for the North London Derby game, there will probably be at least 100 people there.
That's sick.
Last time before COVID, I went to a North London Derby game there. You couldn't get in. If you weren't there early enough, you weren't even getting to the bar. People were trying to get in from the outside. It was like the World Cup was going.
That's so wild.
It's a ton of fun. It's an absolute ton of fun. And that's the other thing I love about soccer. It's super fun. It's super accessible. It's also quick for those of the fans. You know, I don't necessarily agree with this because my other sport's baseball. So when people talk about pace of play, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But it's 2 hours. Like this match is at 7:30. I'm gonna be home by 10.
Right.
Be 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'll be home and everything. I mean, I won't because it's Oktoberfest, but I would be home by 10.
Yeah.
You know, it's 2 hours. You're in, you're out. It's great. They do Premier League mornings on NBC. It's super accessible. It's a super amount of fun,
Mhm.
and it is. Once you understand the sport and you watch it, it's like nothing else.
I think I saw this comparison on a TikTok, maybe. For the US, like the only sport we have that's like similar in fandom is probably college football because there's so much tradition there. So if you like college football, you'll probably be able to like the Premier League in
College football is actually a very good metaphor, a very good reference point because you have the songs, you have the tradition.
Mhm.
People show up no matter what.
Yeah, everyone's there, like they're
And on
living
top
right
of all of
there.
that, have that local feeling.
Mhm.
College football always had that super local feeling, and that's the thing that the Premier League does. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, there's nothing local about Arsenal to upstate New York.
Right, right. We
For
got
anyone wondering why I'm an Arsenal fan, it's not because I like guns and I'm an American, although I am an American. And guns are fun as long as
that
you
was
use
the
them
entry point to
right.
get in.
Thierry Henry. When I was younger, especially around the 04-05 season, YouTube had just become a thing.
Mhm.
I was starting to play soccer. You know, Thierry Henry, he's the king. He will always
Yeah.
be the king. He is the man. He got me into soccer and then Wenger ball. And I will explain all that in a different podcast if you don't understand it. But it made me fall in love with the club, you know. But
Mhm.
it is that same kind of feel. You feel like you're kind of a part of something. It's almost like college football, and I've said this before, it's almost religious in a way.
Oh, yeah.
It's like my religion is Arsenal. I mean, Harper sings the "We Love the Arsenal." She really that's just what it is. I have pictures of her at the beer garden. She's still in her little baby seat. Like she can't even hold her head up yet. But she's in an Arsenal jersey because that's
Love that.
it. That's just what you do. So
I mean, I'm excited to get into it. Obviously now, you know, I'll adopt the team too because I don't have an interest, so I might as well go all in. I gotta get myself a shirt or at least a scarf. I like the scarf like tradition of
the scarves are
soccer. Yeah, that's
Scarves are
very fun. So I guess the only like last thing we wanted to touch on, right, was at the end of the season.
Before we get into that, I do want to get into promotion relegation. I know that's where you're
Yeah.
going to. A couple other things about Arsenal I want to talk about.
Yes.
Number one, today is the 20th anniversary of the first time 9 black players were fielded in a Premier League game,
Oh, that's cool.
and that was by the Arsenal. Arsenal is also the first team that has ever fielded a full team, first English team that has ever fielded a full team of non-English players. They get some hate for that.
I'm
England's
sure.
not necessarily
Yeah.
that different, but Arsenal for a long, long time have been a team of the people, and a team of the working class people. Thierry Henry actually touches on this, and if you are interested in getting into Arsenal or just EPL soccer in general, All or Nothing, they do wonderful football programs on Prime. They did one about Arsenal for last season.
Right.
And the season before that, they did Tottenham, and then a couple of seasons ago, they did Man City. It's a great way to get into it. It's all or nothing. You know, they show what they show, and they don't what they don't, and that's
Right.
life. But the most recent one's about Arsenal and about how Mikel Arteta is going to bring us to the promised land. I swear to God. So definitely look at that. Other thing, Arsenal men is just one half of the team. We also have the Arsenal women, and the Arsenal women are very good. They beat Ajax today to go to the Champions League group stage, so they have qualified for that, which is big, big, big. And then last weekend, they had their own North London derby at the Emirates. Normally, the Arsenal women's team does not play at the Emirates because they can't field the amount of people needed to supply the stadium. But this last weekend, they did. 53,000 plus fans were in attendance, which is the most the WSL match has ever had. And they beat Tottenham 4-0. So 4-0, as they would say.
4-0, yes.
But yeah, it's. I mean, right now the mood around the Arsenal Football Club is just. The men are doing great. The women are doing great. Everyone's happy.
Immaculate vibes happening. Oh yeah, I mean we love it. The first soccer content we did was Jenny and I covering the World Cup last summer. I don't know, the latest Women's World Cup.
Was it last summer? God.
Everything drags. Everything.
It's a year after, so
goes,
that might have been 3 summers ago, man.
Oh man. So I've been doing this channel longer than I suspected. Please subscribe. We're committed. At this point, if I haven't stopped, I feel like, it's got to keep going. But yeah, it's I just love all sports and just covering them. So adding another sport to this, it's very exciting to me. All right, so promotion, relegation. This is not an American concept at all. So how does it work?
No, it's not American, but it's absolutely fantastic. So most people are familiar with kind of how Major League Baseball works, where you have single A, double A, triple A, so on. Single A is much more complicated than just being single A, but I digress.
Right, yeah. Especially now, post like COVID and all that.
Yep. In England, they have what's known as a football pyramid, and at the top of the pyramid is the Premier League. No one gets promoted out of the Premier League because there's nowhere to go. But 3 teams every year get relegated out, and it's the 3 worst performing teams. And then 3 teams from the league below, which is called the Championship, no one knows why, gets promoted up to the Premier League, and then 3 teams from the Championship get relegated down to League One, and then League One gets promoted up, and then so on and so forth all the way down until you're no longer in what's called professional soccer. Then you're into amateur soccer, and I only bring that up because if anyone's watching Welcome to Wrexham, which is a team that Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney bought, which is very good. If you don't like Ryan Reynolds comedy, you're not going to like it. But if you do like it, it's fantastic.
Right.
They're in what's known as the National League. That is technically the 5th league. They are not in professional soccer. They're trying to get promoted up to be a professional team. Anyway, in the Premier League, it's always a big deal who's going to get relegated. Right now, West Ham United, they're not going to get relegated. But they're sitting in 18th with 4 points after 7 matches. And then Nottingham Forest, who just broke the record for most signings in a summer by an English team. I think it was 22. They basically completely reworked their entire squad. Yeah, geez. To give you an idea, much like American football, you field 11 players per side. I mean, you have 11 players on the offense and defense, but still, they basically bought their entire squad over. They're also sitting with 4 points, and then Leicester City is at 1.
Not great. No wins so far.
No wins. They are 1 draw and 6 losses. They've lost their last 5.
tough
I
when your 1 point is one draw. That's tough.
There's no way. There's absolutely no way they get relegated.
Mm.
They still have Tielemans. They have Madison. They have Vardy. I know Vardy's lost a step, but Madison might be one of the best center attacking midfielders. He's definitely one of the best in the Premier League.
Mm.
Yuri Tielemans is a very, very good center defensive midfield. Arsenal was looking at him. I don't think they get relegated. And in fact, I was talking before we started. I'm not sure that any of the three teams in the relegation zone right now actually get relegated.
Okay.
I think Bournemouth is going to go down.
Okay.
I think Everton has a very, very good shot of going down.
Mm.
I think Southampton has a very good shot of going down. But you look at it, Crystal Palace is 16th with 6 points. They're not staying there.
Okay.
Crystal Palace is a better team. Leicester City's a better team. And it's this argument that makes all the Arsenal fans go, "We'll see, this is why we're not going to win the title either." Because it's 7 matches. And I think they're going to be able to put it together.
Mm-hmm.
The same reason why I don't think Arsenal's going to be able to stay on top.
Right.
What I will say, and I will stake this, Leeds, Fulham, and Brentford are all staying up. I know a lot of people think that they're going to get relegated. I absolutely do not. I think Mitrovic is too good for Fulham. I think that he's just going to score too many goals.
Mm-hmm.
I think Brentford has proven already that they're not going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
And, Leeds had that 3-0 win against Chelsea, and on top of that, Leeds is the American team. Jesse Marsh is a real-life Ted Lasso. You have Tyler Adams. You have Aronson. I don't want to believe as much as I don't actually believe.
Mm-hmm.
Everton also got worse. Everton almost got relegated last year. They got worse over the offseason. I really think they did. I think they made the right choice going with youth. I think they made the right choice getting rid of players like Richarlison, even if he did go to Tottenham.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be able to stay up. They've been able to draw a lot. They've had 4 draws already. And that's why they are so high up the table. And if you draw every game, you probably do stay up. But I don't see them being able to hold on.
Right.
So I think Bournemouth, I think Everton, maybe Wolves, maybe Nottingham Forest. I don't know. It's going to be tough. It's going to be fun to watch, though. I think the relegation battle is going to be really interesting.
Yeah. No, every time we do an episode of this, we'll be sure to update it because that's a very interesting aspect to the league, in my opinion, as an American who's not used to that.
We talk about tanking for the number 1 draft pick. Imagine if you lose the most, you're not in the league anymore.
Yeah.
That is such a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money lost too.
I can't even imagine. Yeah.
Something called parachute payments.
Mm-hmm.
Where the league will pay out to the relegated team so that they don't go bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Because to pay Premier League salaries, you need Premier League money.
Mm-hmm.
And then no one plans to get relegated. No one comes up for a year and goes, "Hi, guys, I'm just here for a season." No one wants that. So it's tough. It's crazy.
It's so intense. I mean, it has to be it has to be a weird feeling when your team's languishing down there. As a football fan, I've seen the Dolphins have some tough seasons and be languishing near the end, but there was never the threat of them going to the CFL that was hanging over me. So that would have been terrible.
And so perfect example in just especially for the baseball fan.
Mm-hmm.
2011, we don't speak of because of beer and chicken wings. 2012, we almost don't speak of because of the Bobby Valentine. 2013, we won the World Series.
Yep.
If we followed the English or just soccer in general promotion and relegation, we could not have won the World Series in 2013 because we would have been in AAA.
Yeah.
That's the level that we fight at in this league.
Yep. Hey, the Bengals had the number 1 overall pick, and 2 years later were in the Super Bowl. Same thing. They would have been because they had the number 1 overall pick and then a very high draft pick again because Joe Burrow got his knee exploded during a play. So, they wouldn't have had that fun magical run to the Super Bowl last year.
Not at all.
Oh man. All right, so we'll keep an eye on that. Is there anything else that we didn't touch on that you wanted to touch on?
Oh man, I could talk about Arsenal all day, but I think that's a long enough episode for now. We'll probably make this a weekly thing.
All right, yeah, I love it. I love it. I mean, hey, I would love to in the documentary someday show this first episode, and then we're at a Premier League game, or maybe we're watching Arsenal try to clinch the
Oh,
title. That'd be
that would,
the
I mean, that's the dream. It really
absolutely.
is.
All right, right. Where can they find you online? What would you like to promote? What anything? Floor is yours.
If you want to find me, the best place is going to be Wicked Good Everything. I do the Red Sox show on Wicked Good Sports. I'm going to start doing this show, and then Brian and I and a bunch of other very talented people are working on Show Saving Throw, which is our own Dungeons and Dragons podcast.
Yes.
It's the first episode was amazing. We're recording twice in the next couple weeks. It's going to be good. I'm really looking forward to getting some episodes out.
Once we get those next two sessions recorded, tomorrow I'm gonna go through, figure out where the episode will start, end for each, and then we'll go from there. I'm so excited. Personally, I've never played Dungeons and Dragons before. We had the first session; it was a blast, and I'm very excited to keep going and to get it all edited together. So, check out the main channel for that. Check out this channel if you're new here. We're 3 subscribers away from. Oh no, this is Wicked Good Sports. Sorry, we're fine on Wicked Good Sports, but please subscribe. If you're into podcasts, though, check out our Better Radio channel. We're 3 subscribers away from 100 there, where we get the custom URL. You know, we got tons of podcasts there. We got tons of sports coverage here. You can follow me on Twitter at the Fake BMAR, this BMARR. If you like blogs, you prefer those to video, which would be insane 30 minutes into a video to be like, I'm not feeling this, but I love blogs. Check us out at wickedgoodeverythingsports.com, and then check us out on Twitter at wickedgoodsport or WG Everything, Instagram wickedgoodeverything, Twitch at twitch.tv/wickedgoodeverything, and on TikTok search Wicked Good Sports, search Wicked Good Everything. Rhett, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Brian.
We'll see you all in the next one.